So, multiple outlets are reporting that Sleepaway Camp is getting a remake. According to Deadline, Kenan Thompson's production company, AFA, has picked up the rights with original director Robert Hiltzik to return. I have a lot of mixed feelings on this. Let's get into it. Okay, the first Sleepaway Camp is a pretty solid film, right? It definitely finally achieved cult status, and it's pretty big in the horror world these days. They made 2 movies without the original director, and then he came back, tried to make a new one in, 2002? And then it didn't actually get released till 2008. And as much as I really enjoy and appreciate the first film, that fourth one is trifling garbage. I mean, it's not all bad. Like, sure, it's worth experiencing once if you haven't seen it, but so right away, the fact that they are returning with the original writer and director is something I feel very mixed feelings about. Because on one hand, coming back to the original writer and director is ideal. You know what I mean? This is something we fantasize about as horror fans. Imagine if John Carpenter announced tomorrow that he was going to be writing and directing a new Halloween movie. You know what I mean? So on one hand, it's like really awesome that they're doing that. It's awesome for him and his art too. But on the other side of the fence, the original Sleepaway Camp is very problematic in terms of today's standards. You could have an insane amount of potentially political discussions about that original movie and its repercussions on the horror community. So when I'm thinking about it that way, what I really think should happen is that they should have someone who's trans write and direct this movie, especially if that's kind of the route you're going to go with it. And as we're hearing, it does sound like it's an actual remake, not a reboot, not a sequel, a full actual remake. Now the director has released a statement, I'll read that. I am both thrilled and humbled to be working with AFA on the reimagined Sleepaway Camp. Though I have been approached by several companies regarding the remake of Sleepaway Camp, only AFA has shared my vision and is excited to have me helm the film. Therefore, preserving the integrity of the original film for the fans, as well as introducing Sleepaway Camp to a whole new generation. Be prepared for a new member of the Sleepaway Camp family. So I gotta say, again, my biggest takeaway with this is that I feel internally conflicted about having the original director return. The negatives being, that fourth movie sucked ass. I don't know if he can handle it. I don't know if we want that guy in charge of a movie. I don't know, is this movie gonna be transphobic and piss me off? I just don't know. And then we have just thinking about the world of Sleepaway Camp, just thinking about those 4 films that we have. The first one is really the only one worth like rewatching. Now 2 and 3 have their own merits, they have their place for sure, but I feel like if there was ever a time that Sleepaway Camp should have been remade, it was the early 2000s. Now, people often bring up a point when talking about remakes that we should be remaking bad movies, not good ones. So in that aspect, Sleepaway Camp is one of those movies that is good and bad. Like, this is a really great movie for a very particular audience, you know what I mean? And I think even that audience is split down the middle too. And now I would be very surprised if I'm the only person who feels that they should have put someone trans in charge of this movie. And especially if that's what you're going to be dealing with in this movie. Because if you did that, I think this movie could be really interesting because of the implications of forcing someone to be a gender that they don't identify with. Like, that's already there in the first movie. You could expand and develop that. And I will say that just because a man is directing this or anything, doesn't mean it's going to be bad, doesn't mean it's going to be transphobic. It just means that perspective isn't quite the perspective that maybe we could have. But I can also see you arguing that regardless, Angela is, that character, or if there is going to be an Angela in this movie, is the villain. So the villain doesn't necessarily need to be, relatable and a good person, but I also don't think the villain needs to be a villain because of their sexual identity or gender identity, you know what I mean? And on another note, I will say that I really do like when they remake horror movies. Some of them are my favorites. The Hills Have Eyes was excellent. Texas Chainsaw, I did a whole list about the top 20 horror remakes of all time. I don't have a problem with just remaking movies. But for all the reasons I listed before, I'm pretty concerned that this is going to come out and not be anywhere near as good or impactful as it could be, especially in 2025. Like, slashers are back again, you know what I mean? They've been back for a minute, at least the big ones, but now we have new slashers coming out that are actually working as well, and remakes. I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night looks great, but with this one, it's just too hard to say, and it's too early to say. Maybe they'll make some casting announcements that'll blow me away and I'll be like, I'm in 100%. How would I feel if they actually cast, a trans actor in this? It's just, I think there's very interesting discussions to be had about this, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think this movie should come out? Do you think it's needed? How do you feel about horror remakes in general? And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.